Fresh off the wok are my dad's
番茄牛肉煎麵
Tomato Beef Pan-fried Noodles. This tried and true Chinatown favorite combines the crispiest noodles topped with the tangiest tomatoes and the most tender beef. First, my dad's gonna share the secrets to unlocking the juiciest bites of beef.
呢個牛肉10罐嗰陣時係紐約時的嚟嘅呢個，切啲牛肉先嚇。首先啊，睇到個橫紋，邊度係橫紋咧？啲紋咧就打橫嘅，咁我哋咧要打橫，直切咗佢，唔好打劍切，打橫。
First, we'll cut the beef in 1/4-inch thick pieces, cutting against the grain, which will make the beef less tough. When you look at the grain, you're seeing which way the muscle fibers are running. You want to cut those fibers short, because if you don't cut those fibers with your knife now, then your teeth will be working overtime to cut them later when you're chewing. That's what we mean by meat being tough. When you put the meat on your cutting board, align those grain lines to run from left to right, and set your knife perpendicular to those lines to cut your pieces for stir fry. On your completed slice, you shouldn't see any long grain lines.
咁樣切咗佢，嗱打橫。
你平時會半解凍啲？
咁少少唔使。
My dad prefers to first cut the beef into smaller chunks, then into slices.
平時咧，其他牛肉咧，我就會俾啲水沖一沖佢，但係呢隻牛肉唔需要沖啦，好靚。點知如果要？嗰啲肉係好紅色㗎，咁咪沖佢咯。呢個牛肉冇咁嘅現象，咁唔使沖啦。
With the beef all sliced, let's enhance the flavor and texture by marinating it.
就醃啲牛肉先嚇 ，baking soda 啦，我會俾少少落就得㗎啦，係半個茶匙夠啦。等啲肉鬆啲，咁蠔油咧一個湯匙，胡椒粉1/4個胡椒粉，生粉咧一個湯匙，水咧2個湯匙。
Then we'll mix up the marinade before adding the beef. As always, you can find the full list of ingredients and instructions on madewithlao.com.
攪勻之後咧，將啲牛肉攞嚟撈佢，將牛肉擺落嚟。
We'll add the beef and mix.
撈佢，撈耐啲佢，等佢啲味同埋啲生粉可能吸收晒落去個牛肉入邊嚇，又唔好大力啦，咁撈就得㗎啦。咁撈下啲汁咪索晒咯，係嘛？
When the beef is marinated, we'll move on to our tangy friend.
而家咧切埋啲番茄先，用3個。
We'll first slice off the ends, and then cut it in half lengthwise. Then cut out any remaining hard parts of the stem.
咁樣三角切。即係話佢啲皮黐住啲肉，打橫咁切咧，佢就冇咁好啦。佢啲囊一啲入邊啲囊就走晒出嚟，三角形嘅出，係嘛？
After cutting the tomatoes into triangular wedges, we'll set them aside and move on to our aromatics.
薑絲切薑絲啦，
We'll start with just cutting 3 slices of the ginger.
就夠啦。
Then stack the slices and chop the ginger into thin strips.
紅洋葱就少就夠啦，即係攞啲 colour 靚啲1盎司2盎司上下，切絲
We'll cut our red onion into thin strips.
就擺喺隔離得啦。
With our ingredients prepared, we'll need a large pot or pan and a steamer rack for our next step.
我而家就去啲蒸麵以前我做嗰啲咧就係熟麵，喺士多買翻嚟真係熟麵嚟嘅，就唔需要蒸，你啲滾水淥都得㗎啦。今日咧教大家用生嘅麵，生麵咧要蒸過先，俾水上去先，用滾水快啲啦。嗱，用滾水上去。
My dad likes to preheat water to save some time. The water level should just be below the steamer rack.
開火，大火嗱，俾呢個就蒸嗱，擺佢上嚟，
We'll put the raw noodles into a plate or steamer basket.
擺佢落去。
Then onto the steamer rack.
如果冇呢個咧，
冇呢個仲屌，
如果用啲係要面蒸嚟嘅。
落少少啦，因為佢唔底下唔通窿㗎嘛，佢呢個就係通窿下邊快脆啲嚇。要用呢個咧就係蒸10分鐘到咧，用呢個碟咧蒸多2-3分鐘。滾水擺落去，而家撳一蓋啦嚇。
With the lid on and heat on high, we'll steam the noodles for 9 to 10 minutes.
呢係生麵，你唔好去用水煮過佢先煎，整個煎咧煎唔好得靚嘅。如果煮嘅咧就濕，啲麵發脹咗。如果你蒸咧就好似乾身啲，佢就唔會濕濕立立。
So either buy the steam already cooked noodle or fresh noodle, then you have to steam.
After 9 to 10 minutes of steaming, the noodles are done.
麵蒸好咗，
Then we'll take them out of the wok.
拎起佢，
And please use heat protection if you don't have iron hands like my dad.
倒水，
After pouring out the water and drying, we'll use the same flat bottom wok for our next important step. First, we'll heat the wok to make sure it's dry, then add oil.
好，而家俾油，俾2個湯匙咧。
要開慢火啊？
猛火，開完猛火俾油之後咧，就慢火慢轉咗火，俾麵落去，整開佢。
啲麵係咪好似豉油黃沙麵啫？
一樣嗰啲麵。
After adding the noodles, we'll use chopsticks to loosen them up so they're evenly spread out while they pan fry on medium to low heat.
OK， 加少少油喺邊淋上去。
After a minute, we'll add 2 tablespoons of oil along the edge of the wok.
有油會先至知呢個麵香啊嘛。嗱，知係嘛？
We'll move the noodles around the wok to make sure the oil is spread out evenly. Then we'll check how it looks on the bottom.
係咪你係等住先反轉？
而家反啦，分慢火啲先。
After another 30 seconds, we'll flip it.
你要煎得佢夠香先至反轉，煎麵兩面黃咁佢就，因為煎得夠香嚟睇到嘛？餐館咧多咗用好多油咁樣就炸，但係我屋企我唔會用咁樣做，即係兩邊脆，中間軟。嗱呢邊咧就加少油，都要加少油，兩邊都要俾油。
After flipping, we'll add 2 tablespoons of oil around the edges again.
頭先就開閂慢火，而家就開翻慢火噶啦。用筷子咧，即係話整鬆佢，等佢啲麵接受多啲煎佢，整鬆嗰啲麵佢。如果唔係咧，會實噶咯，係咪？
You can also occasionally take the whole wok and slide the noodles around to cook it more evenly.
聽到陣實實聲響啊！
After 2 to 3 minutes of pan frying this side, the noodles are done.
睇到啊？靚啊！咁咪兩面黃咯，係嘛？黃啊！好啦，搞掂。
This crispy noodle type is known as Hong Kong style noodles or tao mein. It's also called leung mein wong, which means yellow or golden on both sides. The common names are a little misleading as it's not originally from Hong Kong, nor is it stir-fried. It originated in the Suzhou, Shanghai area and was brought down to Hong Kong in the 1950s with a wave of Shanghainese immigrants. From there, the dish quickly caught fire as Hong Kong chefs adapted this unique technique. We've covered another version of these noodles, featuring a delicious savory gravy with a variety of tasty veggies and meats. Today's version features a tomato and beef sauce called ban茄牛肉煎麵in Cantonese, which is more common in Chinese American cuisine.
而家咧就轉過嚟呢邊，
We'll plate our pan-fried noodles and set it aside for our next step.
睇下靚嘛？咩啊？好啦，我而家整乾淨隻鑊就整啲炒啲嘢啦。
This video's community sponsor is Savor Custom Cookbooks, helping you preserve your family's food traditions with custom cookbooks. It's a unique experience that brings your family together to celebrate the foods and stories that you love. Here's how it works. 1. Savor sends a professional photographer to capture your family cooking together in your own kitchen. 2. Afterwards, send in your favorite recipes and any old photos you want to include in the book. 3. Savor designs a beautiful cookbook for your family. In all, you'll get an unforgettable experience with your family and a fancy custom cookbook to honor your heritage. This is our second time having Savor capture our family's recipes and our 2 new babies, Maya and Devin. It was such a relaxing and heartwarming way to document our love, recipes, and traditions. If you're interested in a novel holiday gift idea for your family, go to savorcookbooks.com to book a session with the code MADEWITHLAO to receive $250 off your package. Additionally, if you book during Savor's Black Friday special from now until December 2nd, you'll get an extra $300 off and an extra copy of your cookbook. Click the link in our description to learn more. Now with a clean wok, we'll prep our marinated beef for cooking.
嗰啲油上去，一個茶匙上下啦，油好少咗，等佢鬆咗啲牛肉鬆啲，啲油封啲汁喺入邊，入邊啲汁咧就唔會流出嚟啦。好啦，開猛火，大火，而家咧俾油。
With the heat on high, we'll add about 2 tablespoons of oil and swirl it around.
好，牛肉俾落去。
We'll add the beef and spread it around the pan so each piece can cook evenly. After 20 to 30 seconds, we'll lower the heat so it doesn't overcook.
翻慢火，等啲牛肉唔好咁熟得咁透。
How do you make the beef tender?
唔好拉油拉到咁熟，猛火啲燒用隻鑊，先落油，落咗油之後先慢火落牛肉，慢火啲煮，唔好猛火煮，猛火一下就熟咗啦。同埋啲牛肉咧要夠水，夠生粉醃佢，就收少少個北京霜嚟上去，落夠水醃啲牛肉先發得個大。
After another 30 seconds of cooking on low, we can take out the beef.
剝佢出嚟
已經係8成熟啦。
6、7成熟都夠，啲牛肉唔使咁熟嘅啫，等佢仲煮佢啊嘛。
Now we'll set aside the beef and start putting everything together.
唔使俾油噶啦，下邊已經夠油噶啦。薑、
We'll add the ginger first,
洋葱、
followed by the red onion.
仲開慢火啊？
慢火火啊，唔使咁猛火而家，開中火得，炒啲蒜蓉葱先。
We'll stir fry the ginger and red onion until fragrant or about 15 to 20 seconds. Then add the tomato wedges.
好啦，俾你煮。
After about 20 to 30 seconds of stir frying the tomatoes, we'll add perhaps a surprising ingredient.
俾2個湯匙茄汁上去。
If you're wondering why my dad's adding a quote-unquote American condiment into a Chinese dish, the origins of ketchup are anything but American, with a pretty wild journey. We can trace it back to 300 BC as a Chinese fermented fish sauce that spread throughout Asia. Eventually, fish sauce became less popular in China, but remained a staple of Southeast Asian cuisine. About 2,000 years later, in the 17th century, fish sauce was revived in China by traders. In Hokkien, it was called ketchup, a name that stuck throughout Southeast Asia. Around the same era, British traders became obsessed with their newly discovered ketchup fish sauce, and it quickly took Britain by storm. As ketchup adapted to Western tastes, it gradually morphed into a mushroom-based sauce, then a sweeter tomato-based sauce popularized by companies like Heinz. As China began importing tomato ketchup in the 1900s, many Chinese chefs started combining it into sweet and sour dishes as a modern twist on the traditional sweet and sour sauce.
How do you make a sauce that has sour tomato taste?
番茄本嚟就酸酸地嘅啦，再加啲 ketchup 落去，color 又靚，嗰啲又夠酸味。
After we mix in the ketchup, we'll add some hot water.
開慢火，然後俾3杯水啦，多面俾多啲料水，開慢火。
With the heat on high, we'll make sure our ingredients are mixed well. I also wanted to make a special shout out to thank all of our wonderful Patreon supporters for helping bring this video to life. If you enjoy our videos and are interested in supporting us directly, head on over to patreon.com/madewithlau to learn more. After we add the water, it's time to season our sauce.
呢個係糖，俾2個湯匙，鹽咧1個茶匙，咁攪一攪佢夠唔夠味，睇下佢咩味道先再俾嚇。
At this point, we'll have a taste test to see if we need any adjustments. My dad added another teaspoon of sugar here. Once the salt and sugar are mixed in, we'll add back in the beef.
嗱，牛肉就俾咗落去啦，新慢火，俾1個湯匙個蠔油上去調一調味。而家就新慢火得啦，準備俾個生粉水。
Now we'll make the cornstarch slurry to thicken our sauce.
2個湯匙試下，唔夠再俾，俾死3個湯匙嘅水，2個湯匙個生粉。如果係唔夠啦，就再俾啲生粉攞水上去。嗱，而家埋芡，但係睇住。
We'll pour in our cornstarch slurry a bit at a time while stirring the sauce.
基本上都夠啦。
Like my dad here, you don't have to use all the slurry to reach your desired consistency.
OK， 新火，
點樣知道到？
睇到夠結㗎啦嘛，係嘛？康康食得油嘅煎麵，你可以要求餐館幫你分開裝，啲麵同麵裝，啲餸埋先餸咗，分喺屋企自己倒啲餸落去嘅麵，佢咪爽咯。
擺耐啲會。
擺耐咧，佢咪唔腍到咯。
With the sauce done and the heat off, we'll now add the sauce to our noodles.
就畢啲番茄牛肉過下嗰啲嗱。
We'll add the tomato and beef sauce right on top of our pan-fried noodles. Then we'll serve immediately so the noodles stay crispy.
Cheers!
Wow.
Crunchy noodle.
呢個未食過啊？
I knew I was gonna love this.
番茄牛肉煎麵至好咗啦，希望大家中意。紅隊吃煎麵咯！
Is it yummy?
Happy!
YouTube thinks you'll like this recipe next. Let's see if they're right.